On April 1, 2006, 27-year-old medical student Brian Shaffer walked into a busy bar in Columbus, Ohio, and was never seen again. Security cameras watched the doors that night. They captured staff, friends, strangers, and closing time crowds coming and going, but not Brian. 19 years later, detectives, online sleuths, and Brian's family are still stuck with the same impossible question. How does a man walk into a bar and simply never walk out? This is the disappearance of Brian Shaffer and the new details that keep this case alive today. Brian Randall Shaffer was born in 1979 and grew up in Pickerington, Ohio. He was described as smart, funny, and driven. Friends say he loved music and even dreamed about starting a band one day. By 2006, Brian was a second-year medical student at Ohio State University's College of Medicine. On paper, he was on track: good school, a serious relationship, and a planned trip with his girlfriend coming up. But underneath, things weren't easy. Brian's mother, Renee, had passed away from a long illness just a few weeks earlier. Some friends say he seemed tired, emotionally drained, and weighed down by grief. So when spring break began at the end of March, Brian decided to go out for the night and blow off some steam. On April 31, 2006, Brian met up with his friend Clint for dinner and drinks. They visited a couple of bars, doing a casual bar hop as the night went on. Later, they headed to a bar near campus with a memorable name, the Ugly Tuna Saloon. Cameras in the area show Brian and Clint arriving around 1:15 a.m., taking an escalator up to the second-floor entrance. Brian is wearing jeans and a striped short-sleeved shirt. Inside, they drink, talk, and at some point, another friend joins them. It's a typical college town night, loud, crowded, full of people going in and out. Around closing time, just before 2 a.m., footage shows Brian at the top of the escalator near the entrance, briefly chatting with two women. The conversation seems casual. Nothing about his behavior looks panicked or disturbed. After that, Brian walks slightly off camera and was never seen again. When the lights came up and the bar shut down, people poured out into the street. Clint and the others assumed Brian had either left ahead of them or slipped away to talk to someone and would go home on his own. But he didn't come home. He missed a planned trip to Miami with his girlfriend. He didn't show up to class. His phone went quiet. At first, people thought maybe he'd overslept or gone somewhere spontaneously, but quickly concern turned into fear. Police pulled the security footage from Ugly Tuna Saloon. They expected to see a simple answer: Brian walking out the same way he walked in. But when they watched the tape, something was very wrong. They saw Brian going into the bar. They saw him talking with the two women close to 2 a.m. Then they watched every second of people leaving, and yet, no one matching Brian's appearance was ever captured exiting the front entrance. One of the original investigators has later said that after carefully reviewing the footage to rule out disguises or confusion, he could say with 100% certainty that Brian did not leave via the escalator entrance caught on camera. So if he didn't leave through the main doors, where did he go? The search for Brian escalated quickly. Police and volunteers combed the bar, the nearby movie theater, the alleys, and the construction site behind the building. They checked his apartment, friends' homes, dumpsters, and even nearby water like the Olentangy River. Brian's father and brother even searched rivers personally after a psychic mentioned water and a pier. Nothing. Investigators learned there was a service exit and back hallway that weren't covered as well by CCTV as the escalator entrance. This area led toward the construction site outside. One possibility: Brian left through that back door, maybe for a smoke, some air, or to leave unnoticed. If he was unsteady, it's not hard to imagine a fall or accident in a poorly lit, chaotic construction zone. Over the years, some people with knowledge of the case have said there's a real chance Brian's remains could still be somewhere in that complex, possibly covered by debris or sealed in later construction work. It's a chilling idea. Not that Brian vanished into thin air, but that he never left the building at all. Despite this, extensive searches, including with dogs and specialized teams, have never confirmed that theory. No bones, no clothing, no trace. There is one more layer that keeps this case alive online: Brian's phone. According to discussions that have circulated for years among online sleuths and people who have studied the case, Brian's phone reportedly pinged a tower in the Columbus suburb of Hilliard several days after he went missing. What does that mean? It could be a glitch or old voicemail notification, someone else with the phone, or a simple artifact of how networks log pings. Law enforcement hasn't publicly treated this as a smoking gun, but for many people, that single detail keeps the idea alive that Brian might have left the immediate area, or at least his phone did. Over nearly 19 years, investigators and the public have circled around a small set of main theories. Even a 2024-2025 media revisit of the case summarizes it this way: suicide, accident, abduction, or voluntary disappearance, but none proven. Let's go through them briefly. 1. Voluntary disappearance. Some people think Brian might have decided to walk away from his life, overwhelmed by grief after his mother's death and the pressures of medical school. Supporters of this theory point to his love of travel and the fact that he left without obvious signs of struggle. But there are problems. He left money in his accounts. He never contacted his family or girlfriend, despite being close to them. There's been no confirmed trace of him anywhere in the world, even after the age-progressed image went public. For many, pure voluntary disappearance just doesn't fit. 2. Accident in the construction area. This theory has gained quiet support over time, especially among those who think the simplest explanation is often the right one. If Brian exited through the service door and wandered into the construction zone while intoxicated, a fall or accident could have been fatal. In a chaotic build site, it's possible, some believe, that he could have ended up in a place later sealed, filled, or built over. However, investigations and later searches haven't confirmed that theory. No bones, no clothing, no trace. 3. Foul play. Another possibility is that Brian left through an area not covered by cameras, encountered the wrong person at the wrong time, and was abducted or harmed elsewhere. This is where some connect the case to bigger ideas, like the alleged smiley face killer theory, a controversial idea that a group of killers might be targeting young men in college town environments. Mainstream investigators have not confirmed this connection. It remains speculation. 4. A mix of factors. The hardest part in Brian's case is that no theory fits perfectly. There's no evidence of suicide, no clear path for voluntary disappearance, no witnesses or CCTV of an abduction, no remains to confirm an accident. And that's exactly why this case bothers people so deeply. In 2021, Ohio's Attorney General released an age-progressed image of Brian, showing what he might look like in his early 40s, hoping one person somewhere might recognize him and make that life-changing call. The FBI's VICAP database still carries an alert for Brian, with contact numbers for any tips. In 2024 and 2025, major outlets like People and local Columbus stations marked the 18th and 19th anniversaries of his disappearance, reminding viewers that the case is still open and that police continue to receive tips. There are also online communities and individual advocates whose lives were changed by Brian's story. They run forums, write blogs, and push for better missing persons procedures, not just for Brian, but for others who vanish without answers. On paper, Brian Shaffer's case is a missing persons file from 2006. In reality, it's a wound that never really closed, for his family, for Columbus, and for everyone who can't stop replaying that security footage in their heads. A young man walks into a bar. He smiles, he chats, he disappears off camera, and then nothing. No exit, no body, no ending. If you have a theory about what happened to Brian Shaffer, accident, foul play, something else, share it in the comments below. Conversation doesn't solve everything, but sometimes it's the thing that keeps a case from being completely forgotten. If you want more videos on unsolved mysteries and other crime cases, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell,